Hi everyone, my name is Huiyuan. I'm a recent graduate from the GEM lab of Dalhousie University, Canada. This work is done with my lab mates from Dalhousie, with Thamara and Vinicius from Brazil, and with my supervisors, Kirstie, Hawkey, and Reilly. So today I'm very glad to have the opportunity to share with you the story of how we design and evaluate a tablet interface that enhances the privacy of content displayed on mobile devices. So first, let me ask you two questions. When you read your emails, text messages, or browse your photo albums on your mobile devices in public, have you ever been concerned about others sitting next to you or around you? On the other hand, have you ever looked over your neighbor's shoulders and see their information? So surveys show that half of the adults in France are concerned, while 72% of UK office commuters admit to looking over their neighbor's shoulders on public transportation. So now that mobile devices are ubiquitous and they often carry sensitive personal and work-related information, it became more problematic when shoulder surfing happens. That is, someone happens to see nearby happens to see your information without your permission. So our work aimed to provide a digital solution for this problem. So Brown has developed a privacy processes framework for tools and features in security and privacy. So for prevention, we can do this. Or to be more practical, always-on privacy filters can limit the screen visibility to a small range from perpendicular. However, the need for screen privacy is often transient and highly context-dependent. So a more dynamic approach, which detects shoulder surfing moments, provides awareness and response on the fly, might be more useful. So awareness could be raised by notifications in the form of glyph, sound, and vibration. Digital detection has been explored with front camera-based eye counting and eye detection, or marker-based motion trackers, electromagnetic motion trackers. So the way to respond include altering text, images, or general contents. So our work used the glyph notifications, electromagnetic motion trackers, and general protection techniques. So the basic idea is we use the motion tracker to detect the shoulder surfing event, make a glyph notification pop up on the screen, and also alter the visual attributes of the content on the screen to protect the information. So the questions we ask are, what notification or protection design works and what doesn't? How do we build a digital system based on, given the user's physical ways to manage their privacy? And what do the end users respond to or use our system? So we started by designing candidate notifications of different granularity, from a simple on and off to 3 discrete intensities and a continuous range. We also had a literal radar representation that displays the potential intruders' relative position and field of view. So for protection techniques, we remove color to grayscale, dim the screen brightness. We selectively anonymize sensitive texts or images, and we also leave just a small movable viewport, but mask the rest of the screen. So we evaluated these designs with 12 participants and 4 major privacy scenarios in a busy university library where the designs are meant to be used. So we created a seemingly working prototype with the Wizard of Oz methodology. So that is when a participant was working on his tablet, a wizard used a control interface to make a notification or protection pop-up to simulate a shoulder surfing event. So the result showed that finance scenarios can raise unanimous privacy concerns. Notifications should capture attention when necessary and not distracting. So we combined a non-destructive one and a highly noticeable one to a new notification. And also, for protection techniques, participants prefer masks to have precise control in financial tasks. And DIM was thought to have to provide practical protection in all cases. So we implemented a proof of concept prototype that monitors an area within the tablet user's vicinity. We track both the onlooker and the tablet to calculate their spatial relationship. So when the bad guy is looking towards the tablet and it's within 5 feet, so the notification or protection will apply. So in a real setting, we hang the magnetic field generator from the ceiling. We track the tablet with a wooden plank to mitigate magnetic distortion. Also, we track the back of the onlooker's head with a headband. So sensor data is transmitted wirelessly and forwarded to a custom application, which calculates the distance and relative orientation in real time and communicates the determined shoulder surfing events with the user's tablet and apply the notification and protection. So we evaluated this working prototype in the lab with 26 participants recruited in pairs and 4 study conditions. So the baseline is with no digital support, and the other 3 are notification only, protection only, and with both of them. So in the game, we have 3 activities, a game, a personal banking, and a collaborative finance one. So in the game, 2 participants played a game against each other. So the tablet user needs to finish a primary task while try to hide the content, screen content. And the onlooker tries to see as much as possible. So in the other more realistic scenarios, a research confederate played the role of onlooker and looked more casually. So we collect participants' behavior and attitude data with video, screen capture, questionnaires, and interviews. So we observe that participants move their body, they lean over, they angle their tablets, they look around to gain awareness, and sometimes they tactically utilize the environment as barriers. So we observed 13 nonverbal and 5 verbal privacy behaviors in total. So using hierarchical cluster analysis, we categorize the nonverbal behaviors observed in the game into 5 categories. So the top 3 are response behaviors. So these behavior clusters seem to vary in terms of scale of body movement. For example, this macro protection behavior moves body position and angle significantly. While micro blocking just manipulates the immediate surroundings of the device that requires less movement. And device maneuver simply manipulate the device itself subtly. So in the more realistic financial tasks, we found that privacy behaviors decreased both in quantity and in magnitude. Large-scale movement, such as macro protection behavior, behaviors, which was heavily relied on and very effective in the game, almost disappeared in real-life scenarios. So our existing physical ways have issues of, for example, the difficulty to stay aware, unnecessary precautionary behaviors, less convenience to work at the same time, or advertising users' privacy intentions, or the social concerns of appearing awkward. So with the support of the digital system, participants reported significantly higher perceived awareness, easiness to hide the information, more balance between work and privacy, and overall satisfaction. So notification was thought to help promote awareness, while protection was seen as an extension, substitute, or alleviators of socially awkward physical measures. So participants perceive the management of digital content through both digital systems and physical world in a holistic way. So first, the privacy management systems themselves, such as physical movements or the changing screen appearances due to the notification or protection, are also part of privacy. The second, digital systems were expected to consider both the user and the onlooker's physical circumstances. For example, holistic system might kick in when there is loud noise in the environment, or an onlooker is detected beyond the user's vision, but not when the onlookers are at an obtuse angle or their visions are occluded. Third, so the privacy process are all integral parts of a whole that physical and digital measures can collaborate to fulfill people's need. For example, a person can choose to detect a privacy breach by themselves while delegating the response to the system. So half of our participants were from North America, and the other half were from Asia and the Middle East. So previous researchers argue that designs that enhance mutual awareness between the user and the onlooker can exploit social protocols to regulate both parties' behaviors. For example, the eye design of the notification is very obvious, and it might make the onlooker back off. We found only 3 participants in North America mentioned this as a strategy, and 1 North American participant was concerned about the eye design. On the contrary, none of the participants from Asia or the Middle East perceive this mutual awareness as a strategy, but 9 of them use impolite, unfriendly, or not respectful to judge the social appropriateness of the designs and suggest more secretive design. So the trustworthiness of such mobile content privacy systems became a recurrent theme in our study. So 12 participants expressed concerns about the reliability and accuracy of the tracking system, perhaps due to the limited tracking range or the magnetic distortion in the environment. So 5 people reported not having confidence in the DIM technique at the beginning, but changed their opinions later. So trust is a key factor for the perceived usefulness and adoption of such systems. And direct positive experience and more transparency on the working principles of the technology can help cultivate trust. Although we didn't specifically address how we can practically detect shoulder surfing with our mobile devices, the feasibility and scalability of the technology remain to be the crucial obstacles in this area. So onboard cameras have the problem of limited field of view or capturing subtle events such as shoulder surfing with the corner of eyes. Nonetheless, with the improvement of quality of lens, depth camera, or extra sensors, such as Google's Project Tango, we believe that such technology will come to reality sooner than we think. So we also encourage researchers interested in this area to join in the dialogue and push the frontiers of the community's knowledge. So to conclude, we contribute to the privacy theory by exploring dynamic mobile content privacy management when prevention strategies are not available. We provide a classification of physical privacy behaviors. We also show that digital systems are useful when our physical systems are constrained by cognitive capacity and social norms. The need for privacy is a delicate matter that the system designs should be subtle, socio-culturally aware, and trustworthy. Thank you.
Hi, Florian Shaw from Carnegie Mellon. Great work. I liked your series of experiments. You mentioned the issues with making this practical, and it seems like one of the main challenges is reliably detecting the actual user and distinguishing the actual user from the shoulder surfer. Have you thought about this at all, how to make this practical, or what are your thoughts?
Like I said, in the feasibility of the technology I think is a major limitation in our study. But probably with better quality of lens, with extra sensing ability of our mobile devices, we might be more able to detect the shoulder surfers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor Anderson from State Farm. Question if you gathered any qualitative data from the participants about whether they themselves would use this technology after seeing the different versions you showed. I was thinking about the initial picture you showed of some folks sitting on the subway, and obviously if you had any of those technologies working, it would be going off every 2 minutes, right, because you're seeing eyes kind of everywhere. Wondered if you got any information about whether they themselves would actually use this type of technology.
Yeah. From both studies we collected lots of qualitative results. And yeah, the point you mentioned is critical, especially in busy environments. But participants still thought they would want this system, but they want the ability to control the context where they would want it. So that's exactly because the need for privacy is highly context dependent. Also, although we didn't report in the paper, we had an interview with 2 physicians from the hospital. And their feedback is very interesting because the work-related environment is really different from our personal related scenarios. So the work performance would be their first priority. And one person even commented that, so if one person walks by and the system notifies you and another person walks by, the system notifies you again, then the doctors would want to throw the tablet on the floor. So yeah, it's definitely very interesting to evaluate it with people from different backgrounds and scenarios. Thank you.